who are considering sanctioning Nigeria, because right now the U.S. Congress Committee on Foreign Affairs, listening to these horrible tales, right? They are currently recommending that Nigeria should be sanctioned. Well, I don't think sanctioning Nigeria should be the goal. There are individuals responsible. And I bet that, America, as sophisticated as America claimed to be, America will have all the information of this terrorist sponsor and those terrorist spokesperson, those who have been defending these terrorists at any given, fora. They should be sanctioned. The likes of El Rufaya not only should be sanctioned, El Rufaya should be held responsible for the death of tens of thousands of Southern Kadunas. People from Southern Kadunas who got slayed, who got killed by this terrorist sponsored by El Rufaya. He has a public confession saying he brought them back to Kaduna. Somebody like that should actually be issued an arrest warrant that will make him end up in the Hague. What about Bokwari? Muhammadu Bokwari, the terrorist Bokwari, the man that brought back terrorism, the man that came to legitimize terrorism in Nigeria, the lifeless mannequin, Bokwari, should also be sanctioned. And I'm talking about an indictment that will get them arrested. Now, sooner or later, those who are appealing to the U.S. to do something, I know U.S. can come to Nigeria to protect these indigenous people, right? But somehow, the way the whole global village or the global politics or geopolitics actually works. Now, there is, there was this report from UAE, Dubai, where they did their own investigation on the people who were using, their foreign connection to raise funds for terrorists in Nigeria. And they released the names. They said, these are the terrorist sponsors in Nigeria, right? These guys were arrested in Dubai. They were locked up. That's those ones they found in Dubai. Others, based on their investigation as well, who are based in Nigeria, their names were forwarded to Nigerian governments, and Nigerian government did nothing. So if anybody tells you that their Islamization agenda is not real, it is somebody who is probably living in denial. When you go to the up north, and you will see the wreck, the wreck and the havoc caused by these jihadists, these terrorists, something that they are trying to replicate in other parts of Nigeria as we speak, right? When you go to the north, when you see the number of their worship centers, churches burned down by these terrorists, and you get to take the list of, clergymen, kidnapped and slaughtered by these terrorists as well. Or you begin to take a stock of the names of, the stock of the people they kidnapped and then turned to their sex slaves in that contraption as well. All of this will tell you, what you probably are trying to what you are trying to pretend to not be aware of, right? So I do appreciate those who took it upon themselves, because they will still get the backlashes anyway, took it upon themselves to appear before that committee, because what you have done now is that you have told your stories, okay? As much as, America is seen as the police of the world, right? At the same time, if you have the same, if you have the same clout, I implore you to please add the names of the sponsor of the terrorism in Nigeria, including the clerics in northern part of Nigeria promoting these, killings and justifying these killings as well, because there are those in northern Nigeria that spends their time. I'm talking about clerics, these terrorist Islamic clerics in up north, okay, who actually preaches, in support of these killings, and at the same time, right, justifies the killings as well. So they ask people, they say, you either convert to Islam or you should just take whatever is coming your way. This is the reality today. So sanction against Nigeria may not really make any impacts, but a sanction or different indictments of the people who are actually responsible. We have the likes of Malamun. Yes, Abubakar Malamun should be standing trial in the Hague for crimes against humanity and terrorism. Bokwari should be standing trial in The Hague, yeah, and then standing trial for sponsoring terrorism as well. El Rufai, his own son and children, particularly, his children, they should pack all of them and take them to The Hague as well. Just recently, where they are doing the big bat of, El Rufai leaving APC, one of El Rufai's son tweeted this, right? Said, "It is your stupid mother that is an elephant. And Southern Kaduna residents will keep seeing shege if they continue to attack indigenous Fulani herdsmen." There is no indigenous Fulani herdsmen in Nigeria. This is the history that we must kind of continue to remind our own children. There is no any part of Nigeria, a piece of land. Fulanis are not indigenous to Nigeria. Fulanis are not indigenous to Nigeria. How they managed to squeeze themselves into the power equation of northern Nigeria is no longer a secret. We know how the British colonists or colonialists, how they inculcated this murderous tribe into the Nigerian political space and power space as well. There is no indigenous Fulani in any part of Nigeria. Maybe if they find their land to the Futajalon and Futasoro, maybe they will find their own people there. Until 1804, there was nowhere, anywhere in today's Nigeria where you will find any Fulani ever. Until 1804, there is nothing called Sultan of Sokoto. There is nothing called Emir of this or that until after 1804, when these terrorists carried out their first act of terrorism on the indigenous people of Hausa land, the indigenous people of what is today's northern Nigeria, right? And they succeeded in killing their leaders, the leaders of the Hausas and other indigenous leaders of that area. There is no Fulani land in Nigeria. Now, we must kind of say this to their faces so that those who wants to try and say, let us just accommodate them or, what have you, they needed to be taught a lesson, a lifetime lesson. Sultan of Sokoto is not from Nigeria. His forefather, they are from Futajalon. They do not have any ancestral land in anywhere, any part of Nigeria. So nobody should talk about indigenous Fulani, indigenous where? From where to where? It doesn't exist. Now, people can coexist if you can at least respect the indigenous people of these lands whose ancestors bled, toiled, sweated on the same land, and they were buried in this land. But to this El Rufai and the people like him, this is one of the reasons why people are saying you should not be swayed. You should not fall another mugu of getting this evil man called El Rufai close to power again. Now, people may have short memories, but it is good to remind you and remind everyone that cares to listen, right? The reason why the indigenous people continue to push for the breakup of this contraption is no other reason why, no other wise than the state-sponsored or the state-backed kind of Fulani terrorism in Nigeria. Now, before now, people will say it is because the guy in charge of Nigeria is a Fulani, that is a Bokwari. That was Bokwari. So what happened to a Yoruba man from Guinea? I'm not sure this guy is even a Yoruba, but let's just manage that. Because somebody like a Tifnumbu who also watches his own people, in quote, his own people being slaughtered by this Fulani terrorists. Yorubas are paying ransom to Fulani terrorists on their own land. Our own people are being kidnapped in their own land. And the supposed Yoruba man who is in charge of your contraption has no clue. And maybe because of power, like that bishop said, because of power, majority of them have grown to become politically correct, who do not want to offend their own godfathers, the Sultan of Sokoto and co. So to my people in the middle belt part of Nigeria, to all the bishops, all of you who have, who have one grave or the other to show as the atrocities committed by these terrorists, keep it on like that, okay? We know that a time is going to come, yeah, whereby if nothing is done, indeed, if nothing is done, then people would have to actually take the law into their own hands. And I promise you, nothing is going to be done. Nothing. They won't do anything, right? So it is high time for those of you who are Christians, right? Especially those of you who are Christians of the Christian Association of Nigeria to stop expecting any form of, succor or savior coming from these rogues who are complicit. The Nigerian government is complicit in this murderous campaign, even though these guys don't actually really believe in anything, Islam or Christianity or whatever, any religion at all. But if it gives them or gives them power, if it keeps them in power or gives them power, they can always look away. Fulani terrorists have wreaked so much havoc. They have attacked Nigeria's, indigenous people. They have attacked the Nigeria's core food basket. They have brought about economic ruin and hardship, plus terrorism, which is their modus operandi. They've brought ruins to the millions of people. And right now, the lives of millions of people inside that contraption is still in danger, courtesy of these Fulani terrorists. So whether they are pushing their Islamization agenda, Fulanization agenda, I urge you, those of you who have encountered them few times, to stop expecting people to come and save you. Nobody is going to come and save you to start with. No one is. So when you begin to defend yourself, when you begin to arm yourself, when you begin to confront them, because the only language I have been told, the only language that these Fulani terrorists actually recognizes is violence as well. So praying that something should happen or someone should come in and that is enough. Glad that you were able to go to the US to share this with people there. America may not really be able to do anything to save you. So it is high time that you stop looking forward to people to come and save you when indeed, as their Islamic jihadist leaders continue to mobilize and get them weapons, because they are getting them the weapons to attack all these indigenous people, right? So it is ideal for everybody to actually stand up on their own, defend yourselves, confront them. I mean, wipe as many of them as possible off and stop, expecting anybody to come and save you. Because right now, those who approaches your barn, approaches your home, approaches your farm with loaded guns, they are not coming in to negotiate with you. They are coming to kill you. And therefore, you shouldn't, for any reason, be seen giving, speeches on how, the peace or whatever it should be. No. I saw a video, right? To my viewers, okay? Let me give you an idea what it is like when these Fulani terrorists are after you. This is what it is like.
Why me like fire dura? Omila fanyo dura ne ya paki dinne. Wallahi fanyo no dura. Fanyo ande dare yo. Wallahi dikari fanya. Bida no. Why mo to mo ko tin.
España va la verde.
Ikari ala di norra. Rara ini tu
When you see any abobaku or any ronuku or a ronunazi that tells you that we should be preaching peace, we should be promoting peace, we shouldn't, preach against this terrorist, you can easily tell. Why would you want to engage any ronuku for that matter? Why would you want to talk to a voluntary slave like that of the APC, Egbekegbe in the first place? The people of Uzo Owani, if I pronounce that right, Uzo Owani in Enugu, travelers who got attacked by the same Fulani terrorists. I mean, take a look at that, right? They will invade somebody's farm, destroy everything you have planted. If it's ripe enough for them to not only feed on the cassava stem and what have you, it is also for them to actually like uproot the cassava and feed it to their cows. This is how they attacked the Nigerian source of food production in the last 10 years. That contributed to the food crisis that Nigeria is facing. The poverty, which has also, enveloped the entire place. People used to be able to take care of themselves, no matter how tough or how hard the economy was, right? But when the Fulani terrorists jumped into the fray, they started destroying people's farms, people's livelihood. And if you dare challenge them, they will come back in the night when you and your family are fast asleep. In the middle of the night, the cowards will open fire and kill and burn until, those of you that survives will have to escape and find somewhere to go to. It has been the modus operandi for the past 10 years. It is still the same. There is no memo in that Nigeria security system or Nigeria security apparatus or what have you, where you can say things have changed right now. The Nigerian system is now protecting Nigerians and going after these terrorists. Rather, they will preach to you and tell you that they are your brothers. You are the same. So what happened is that if any Fulani destroy your farm, you should arrest them for them to pay compensation, right? Not only that they go into people's farms to destroy their farms and their livelihoods, they also go just right there on the road to kidnap travelers. And those who refused to stop to be kidnapped, they then get shot at, like what happened to these travelers yesterday in Uzo Owani in Enugu State, by the way. Watch this.
More than how many bullets? More than how many bullets? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. No, more than how many bullets? Move 10 complete for years. This is almost bullets. AK-47. AK, see as you listen. Graças a Deus,
So, like, how are you going to explain that? Those ones lived to tell the story. And therefore, we can all have opinion on that. Many people don't live to tell the story. They don't. and it is deliberate. So they are Islamic jihadists or jihadism, which is the definition, their own definition of fighting for their Allah. Something that ordinarily they've told the rest of us we are just infidels. If you are not practicing their own style of Islam in that northern Nigeria, right? Then you are an infidel. And to them, an infidel